Hello everybody, my name is Yair Gelb and today I want to show you a WordPress plugin called WordPressonalize, which is basically a two-part plugin. The first part of it is really just to inject content, HTML blocks into your site, and you can decide what pages and what categories and what posts to put it on, and you can also decide where to put it in your theme. Then the second part of this plugin is, which is actually the fun part in my opinion, is you can set a whole set of conditions whether to show this block or not, and thus you can kind of personalize your visitors' experience when visiting your site. So let's look at the plugin. So like any plugin, you download it and you activate it. And you see here we have a WordPressonalize block, and let's look at the blocks. I've created a few of these blocks, and whoever works with WordPress will recognize this is a basic custom post. You have your title, you have your content. Here on the left, here on the right, you have a little section to incorporate basic CSS. You can do a background image. You can decide where that background image is placed, background color. You can do your text color. You can do text align, font size, border color, border width, border radius, padding, etc. Now you can do all this by just attaching a class to a div here. But this, for whoever doesn't feel comfortable with CSS, this kind of gives you the basic CSS styling. So I've created a banner, I gave it a name, I gave it some content, I did some basic CSS image, some coloring, and I'm gonna set it to inline. Now you can have these HTML blocks either go appear inline, meaning they're going to be served as part of the page, or they can be called asynchronously, meaning that after your page loads, only then does your site actually call this content block. So if you put it to the async message, it basically won't interrupt your page load by anything. It actually gets loaded after your page loads. But let's go with inline for now. Now here you have the positioning wherever you want it on the theme. You can have it as a pop-up, which we'll touch later. You can have it right after the body tag, before the loop, after the loop, before the post content, after the post content, manually, and as shortcode. So let's see the after body tag. So we decided where in the theme we want it. Now let's attach it to our actual content. So there's basically three sections, and they're all the post section. You basically have these drop downs where you can filter the post you want it on. So this is a basic mock site. I really just have two post types, but it detects whatever post types you have. So let's just see. Let's get a list of posts. I don't care about category, and let's just get the post list. So the post list comes down here. Let's just let it. I think I clicked too fast. So here are all my posts. And now let's say, again, this is a mock site, so I really just have 4 posts. But let's say I had a big site and I really wanted to find the posts that have north in their title. So if you see this now, only the post that is highlighted, that is already checked for this block, comes back, and the only other post that has north on it. So that's fine. I'm going to leave it with that. Let's get a list of pages. And again, you see these are all my pages, and I've already selected 3 of the pages. And taxonomy, I can get all my categories. And again, these are all my categories, and I've selected 3 of them. So we're good to go here. Let's update it. And now let's go to my site, and let's see what it looks like. So you see here's Here's our little banner. It has the background, the image, and it's right after the body tag, so it appears nicely right on the top. Now, I can remove the image. I can play with the padding, or let's play with the font size, and really fairly easily, change the look and feel of this banner. You know what? I don't know. Let's give it a little more reddish style. Update that. And voila. We have a totally different looking banner with a few clicks. All right, so now let's say, and by the way, let's see. This is only set for island hopping, so if I go to island hopping, I will see the banner, but if I go to any other post, I won't see the banner. That's kind of a nice tool to selectively inject content into your site. Let's look. I guess you can play around with this. I'm not going to show every position, but let's look at position manually. So position manually basically gives you a line of PHP, which if you feel comfortable editing your PHP files, you can copy this line. And let's go back to the home page. And I want it right below this image. So if I go to my template, it is right here in my header. And where is my header image? So I just copy the line of code. Let me just make sure I save this. Okay, so now it's set to manually positioned. And voila, it's right below the image. So basically you can position your blocks anywhere in your template, anywhere you want. The other cool feature is the sidebars here. So these last three options are actually being pulled dynamically by whichever sidebars your theme has active. So this plugin will pick up whichever sidebars you have active and put the blocks right above them. So again, let's instead of manually, let's just place it right above my right nav. And there you have it. There's the block. So let's look at pop-ups now, and you kind of saw them pop up while I was going in my pages, but here's a pop-up. Let me just do one thing here. No, not that. Let me just clear my cookies, and I'll explain why I have to do that. So pop-ups in general, unlike a banner can just show on any page, and when you come back to the page, you can see it. But a pop-up is probably not the best thing to keep showing your customers. It's a little intrusive. So when you set a content block to be a pop-up, what it does, it also places a cookie. And you can set in the general settings, you can set how many days after a customer or after a visitor to your site sees a pop-up, how many days will they go without seeing that pop-up. So I set it to 1, but you probably want to set it higher, set it to 30. So that means for that whole month they won't see this pop-up, but after a month they'll see it again. Now if you set it to 0, that means it's only going to be there for the session. So if they close their browser and open their browser again, they'll see that pop up. So let's see, we have 168. We have actually 2 pop-ups. So let's 2 pop-ups active. And that's another thing, you probably don't want too many pop-ups active on your site. But let's refresh that, and here we see our first pop-up. So we close that. So we won't get that pop-up now for a day. And let's just refresh, and there's our second pop-up. And again, you see very basic CSS. I'm not coding anything. I'm doing it all through this CSS tool and basic content here. So that's the first part, inserting content. The one other thing you can do is also shortcode, and I'll just briefly touch on that. So you can place this block as shortcode in any one of your posts. Now, you might ask, why would I do that and not just put the code directly in the post? But with the shortcode, you can use this little CSS GUI, and B, if you have a repeating block that you want to put across a few posts, but you really want to edit them in one place, if you have any changes. So, you could use this as shortcode. So basically, it's a nice tool to just insert content into your site without knowing too much about programming. So that's the first part. And one more thing. Let's look at one more thing. One more thing I wanted to show. So we saw this banner. We saw it above the right nav. Now, when you have a production site, you don't want to just put a banner up there and start looking at it and tweaking it. So you can set it to test mode. And what test mode, basically you see this red bar and you see that this is kind of reddish. Test mode means that your viewers won't see it. So if I refresh this, I have to save first. So put it to test mode, and yeah, obviously whenever you make a change, save it. So now it's in test mode, and our viewers won't see this. The only way to see these banners now is to actually have a query, a variable here. It's a hashed variable, and if you attach that to your query string, you'll see the variable. So let's look. And this basically gives you all the links that have this banner. So let's see, this is the home page, so let's click on that. And when I do have this in my query string, I'll see it. So that's a nice way to kind of, you can just tweak the banner till you're absolutely satisfied, and when you're good to go, you take it off testing and you show it to the world. So that's the first part. So now let's actually start with the fun part. So let's make this banner look a little better. Let's bring it back to what it was. And I think we have 20 here. I'm sorry, we wanted. So the second part we were talking about is actually personalizing your experience. So giving your visitors a more personal experience. So for personalizing, I always have to have it in the async mode, because when you install this plugin, it starts collecting data about your visitors. Now it places the data on their browser, so there's no infringement of privacy. The data is only on their browser, and only your site can access it. Even you as the site administrator can't really access your users' data, so it's really just on their browser, and it's just sitting there. And then you can give them more personal experience based on that, but you can't really utilize that data in any other way. So we need to put it in async mode because that data is on their browser. So inline, your backend doesn't really have any clue to that data. So once it's in async mode, we can actually start building conditions. So let's go with basic. Let's start with some very basic stuff, and let's go with visitor's device, and let's go with a Chrome browser. If for whatever reason you have a banner that you only want to show Chrome users. So here I am on my Chrome, and I see this beautiful banner. So here's another person, and they're coming in with Firefox. And this is really the core of experience. You know, here's what one of your visitors sees, and here's what another visitor sees. So let's look at something a little more practical. So let's get a block here, and have a little block here that I created, and it's an advertisement for shoes. Now, I'm actually going to put it on my backpack, and I'm going to try and encourage someone who already looked at shoes or bought shoes to get 20% off when they buy a backpack with shoes. So, you know, this is targeted marketing. So I created this. This is all set. I'm going to save that. Now let's go to Chrome. And let's go to that backpack. And on Chrome, I don't see anything. I have my my top banner because if you remember, I set that only for people with Chrome. But with Firefox, I did buy shoes. So let's see. So again, here you see the top banner, and the top banner shows here because if you remember, we also set it up to anybody who bought plus 40. But here I get this message, get an extra 20% off when you add hiking boots. Now, this is because I bought, you know, I'm a customer that bought shoes, but the customer who didn't buy shoes will not see that. So, you know, you can do some pretty neat stuff with that. Now, let's go back to our top banner. Let's see something else. Another thing we can do with these conditions is we can set them to all or to any. Now, if it's any, it means you just really need one of these conditions and you're good to go. You'll see the block. If it's all, you need all of them. And when I set it to all, it means I both need to have Chrome and to have bought more than $40, which I don't think any of these browsers fit the bill. So yeah, you see, disappeared off Firefox because I don't have Chrome, and it'll disappear off Chrome because I didn't buy more than $40. But with this any or all, you know, you can get pretty elaborate with the things you do. Now you can put a block within a block. So let's add a condition block here, and let's say if you're a Chrome user and if you saw, let's base it on history, and you saw more than 3 posts, but I want all these conditions. So if you're a Chrome and you saw all these, let's remove these. We don't need these. But this I'll set to any. So if you're Chrome and you saw more than 3, or if you're Firefox Oh, sorry, I meant to do this. I meant to do a block. And let's just do. No, let's look at location. So again, also I'm not going to go over every option. I just really want to give you the gist. Let's see, within radius. I want to give you the gist of all the opportunities or all the possibilities that you have here. Here's another, a nice thing is you can build conditions based on location. So I'm currently in Rochester, and let me just see Google Maps. I just want to get the longitude and latitude of Rochester. Okay, so that's Rochester. So if I'm about 20 miles from Rochester, but let's do 50, and you can do kilometers or miles. Of course, we here in the United States like to do everything different, but there is a kilometer option for everyone else. So basically I haven't I really have two sets of conditions here. So you have to have all of these conditions or all of these conditions, and you see you can just nest conditions within conditions within conditions. So you can get very specific on who you're serving the content to. So the first condition for Chrome, it's Chrome, and I do believe I saw more than 3 posts here. Yep, so I saw more than 3 posts, so I'm getting this. Now the second one is Firefox, and I am definitely 50 miles from Rochester, but let's see if it was 5 miles. And this is cool, if you're, I don't know if you have some, if you're in a convention or if you have an opening of a store or something, you can do very local advertisement. So right now I want this banner only people who are 5 miles from Rochester, only people who can literally walk to the convention. So I'm 20 miles, I don't get it. So that's the gist of it. Again, take a look, download this plugin, play around with it. If you like it, give it a good rating. Definitely come back and see there's a lot of plans for the future. I want to open up this plugin so other plugins can tap in and place conditions. So right now, WooCommerce and WP Commerce can place conditions, but if you have some contact us plugin or email sign up or whatever other plugin, I want to open up the API so they can tap into that and start putting conditions. I also want to have a kind of A/B banner where you'll serve a banner if it meets the conditions, but you can also within this create a whole other banner for those who didn't meet the conditions. Improve the CSS GUI. So there's tons of plans for this. So again, I hope you enjoy this plugin. Hope you give it a good rating. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.